And here I go.
There you go.
Okay, this is the script for remotely conducted and hybrid open meetings as of April 26, 23. We are using Zoom for this meeting. Zoom has the capability to allow the public to participate in the meeting as an attendee. The chair can request that members of the public provide their names for purposes of keeping accurate minutes of the meeting. Attendees must register to participate. The registration link is unique to the meeting. The registration link can be found in the description of the Nantucket Government TV YouTube live feed for the meeting. Attendees will join in listening mode. They can click the raise hand button if they wish to speak. The chair will call on those who have raised their hands in the order they were raised. All questions should be directed through the chair. As a preliminary matter, my name is Susan McCarthy and I serve as the chair of the Board of Appeals. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. John Brescher.
Present.
Michael O'Mara.
Present.
Joe Marklinger.
Present.
Mark Poor.
Here.
Jim Mondani.
Here.
Okay. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. William Saad.
Here.
Nikki Sheriff. Here. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Sarah Alger. I know, what?
I was gonna make mention, for file 2022-29 Monomoy Road, they did ask to continue to January, they're not on island.
Oh, okay. Luke Thornewill.
Yeah.
And Mr. or Miss Hunton? Here, okay. And Arthur Reade. May not be on yet. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you, John. I missed that on my list. Okay. Good afternoon. This open meeting of the Town of Nantucket Board of Appeals is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Board of Appeals is convening in person and by video conference via the Zoom app, as posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Some attendees are participating by video conference. Be aware that other attendees and viewers may be able to see you. Do not screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the list of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, question, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After the members have spoken, I will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay. So I'm going to call to order the regularly scheduled Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, December 14th, 2023 at 1:06. Would someone make a motion to approve the agenda as drafted? Michael O'Mara makes the motion. Would someone second?
Second.
John Brescher seconds that motion. So I'll go down roll call. Please respond in the affirmative if you approve the agenda. Myself, I, John Brescher.
Aye.
Elisa Allen.
Aye.
Michael O'Meara.
Aye.
Joe Marklinger.
Aye.
Okay. So we can move on to the first matter of old business is application 03-22, 930 Acres LLC for 930 Acres Lane. Attorney Sarah Alger is presenting this application. Attorney Alger, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I am here representing the owner of 30 Acres Lane, and with me is Jamie Strabino, who's the manager. So this is a review of the annual review of the conditions as required under the special permit that you granted at the time of the sale. I can't tell you that it went without a hitch this last year, as you probably saw. There were some bumps along the road. I'm going to let Jamie talk to you about that and tell you what has happened to correct those since everything was kind of brought to a head this fall, and what he's put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen next summer or subsequent summers. So.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jamie Strabino, and I'm a partner at the Brotherhood of Thieves. We're a tenant at 930 Acres. We share the house also with the folks from the tavern in the summer. In the winter, it's just us. So it's brought to our attention there were several issues in regards to trash storage and noise complaints, things to that effect. We've kind of dealt with them as they've arisen, but I can give you a rundown of how we handled it. So in May, there was a complaint about a loud, argumentative individual on the property. They were an employee of the other tenant. They've said they were let go that weekend after it came to light. So out of the building. We also had one of our folks that was loud and parked their car in an area that shined the lights into the neighbor's property and had loud music. We subsequently let them go, got them out of the house. We got a dumpster from Reese Trucking and set that up on a pad per the request of the Board of Health. And given the difficulty with the hedgerow there and blocking any kind of lights when people pull into park, we just got approval yesterday, I guess the landlord did, to put a fence up along the property line, which should keep things neater and also keep light and the like from getting into the other adjacent properties. We have supplied Billy with a list of managers on our half, and when the other tenants come back in the spring, we're requiring that they have a tenant residing in the building that's going to manage their half of the property, because at the moment it was kind of a person that wasn't there to handle it. So the neighbors have been given the phone numbers of the managers, the emails of the managers, and everyone has been issued a rundown of the rules of the regulations of the house. So we're confident that most of this is behind us, and we've addressed all the issues that were brought up.
Sure, Michael.
How many managers are there going to be that are living there this summer?
Well, this summer I've got 2 in there now. There'll probably wind up being 3 on our side. On the other side, we're requiring that they at least have 1.
And the managers will be in charge of making sure the policing of the building. Thank you.
Have you spoken with the owners of, I think it's 10C and 10B, maybe it is, of 30 Acres, Mr. Hunter and Mr. Santamaria, who had
Yep,
written?
I've spoken with them. I met them out on the property. We walked through. I told them what we were going to do. Prior to the meeting, I sent them an email, but I haven't heard anything back yet.
Go for it, Joe.
I saw that the parking was, there's going to be 1 less than you're allowed, but it doesn't say how many vehicles are going to be in that parking lot?
Oh, no, we have on a lease, it's not an issue of the less vehicles. It's the way the property is lined up for them to park. They pull into a hedgerow, but the hedgerow has grown over the years and it's thinned out. So that's why we've got the fence now that runs across. So that,
My question is, how many cars are there going to be in that lot?
I believe we have 6 in that lot.
Thank you. And the managers, what are their qualifications? There's some
they're-
your employees?
They're full-time managers of our restaurant.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
And they're going to live in that dormitory?
That's correct.
That's good.
Thought the best way to solve it is put someone that's not a peer in charge.
And you said you got, you have HDC approval for
The fence. Yep.
fence installation, okay.
That was just. Yep.
Okay,
Fence is actually already there, ready to go. We're hoping we'd get approved so we can move a little quickly on it. So we're.
And you said you're going to have bike racks.
Yes, there's bike
But-
rack there now.
Does anybody ride their bike?
Those that do, yeah, we've got probably 5 bikes there now, and I'm not sure how many bikes on the other side, but
Thanks.
there's adequate racks for them to.
No, I was wondering if everybody that needed a bike had a bike. That's the,
Yeah, everyone, well, you know what happens on the island. So in April, they arrive and they go to the auction and everybody buys bikes. And so they're pretty set in that regard.
Okay.
And then we have bus passes. So everyone's got an opportunity to get transportation without having to have a car.
okay, thank you.
I have a question about the manager. I know when you talk about manager, you're talking about restaurant managers, whereas this contemplates kind of a different role. And to me, it contemplates one point of contact, which the person doesn't have to be a manager in a restaurant, but it makes sense that probably. Is there a way to create one point of contact so that if there is a issue with a neighbor, they don't have to worry about finding a tavern manager or?
Yeah, so we've supplied multiple names and numbers that they can reach out to.
Okay.
I'm the default buck stop tier guy, so they can reach
Okay.
out to me directly and I'll follow up with them.
Okay, that's my concern. It's just
Yep.
one point of contact.
Yeah, I don't want them having to chase it around, but we wanted to give as many folks to reach out to because obviously we want to solve any issue quickly, so.
yes. Oh, he's on the,
I was about to, yeah. Should I let him through?
sure.
Okay. Go
Unless-
ahead,
does anyone else-
Roberto.
Yeah, go.
Good afternoon. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I had a conflicting meeting that I only just finished. Everything Mr. Strabino did say is correct. We did meet on site to discuss the issues that we have been dealing with at the property there. Really good. You don't have to see everything that's on my desk. So we have been really impressed with the work that Mr. Strabino is trying to get done and really quickly. We do appreciate that the fence will be put in place. As far as the question about the bike racks go and how often they're being used, considering we're right there, they use it a lot. There is a lot of bike traffic, which is good. It does help a lot. And I also do see a lot of them on the hoverboards, which is actually a really innovative way to travel here. So I appreciate that, Mr. Strabino. Everything seems to be working forward, and we're moving towards a very good, a nice compromise to where we're going. The only request that we still haven't seen completed was the moving of the trash can, even in that picture from, I believe, in your packet on page 47. That the trash bin that in the picture that I have that you have in your packet on page 25 on how filthy it gets in the summer, that is less than 10 feet from my porch. So we are requesting that gets moved further down closer to the cul-de-sac, just because we tend to smell it, and we do see the rats in that trash bin in the summer. But otherwise, everything seems to be moving forward, and Mr. Strabino did give us 3 names, And then I also saw that on page 57 of your packet, there is a first name for Mr. Bonta, and then there's also Mr. Strubino himself. So we do appreciate the progress that we've been making.
Would you be open to, is this, well, I guess my question is this the only trash bin, this one
No,
on?
that's actually a recycle bin. One of the problems we had with some of the other folks was they were using it as a trash bin. So we've got a dumpster and we're gonna move that now that I walked through the property when we did our fire inspection. So I had clearance from them where I could put it. We're gonna move it over to the other side. So it shouldn't be near any property line at that point.
Okay,
But that's supposed to be a recycle bin. It's not supposed to be trash.
okay. Yes. Michael.
I assume that the dumpster you referred to is a roll-off?
Yep.
With a lid?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Lisa?
Is this dumpster with the lid, is this permanently sitting there?
Yeah, it's on a concrete pad off to the other side of the house.
Okay. Because this, for the people that don't understand the concept of recycling, looks like a nightmare. So I think this bin that's for recycling should probably be labeled recycling only. And then I think it should also be bigger than this, because what happens is when things get shoved in there, like even cardboard that doesn't fit in there properly, the lid stays open. And then for those people that don't know how to recycle, their food products go in there, and then the crows and the seagulls show up and drag it all over the place. This doesn't work, and it needs to be bigger, and the lid needs to be more secure. Even if this gets moved over by a dumpster, this to me doesn't work.
Is that, I don't know whether it shows accurately, that's 3 55-gallon trash cans in there. Does that fit with?
I don't know what it shows, but it doesn't work.
I think for, I think, what's the amount of people that can live in this is 25 people in this dormitory, is that what it said?
Yes.
So I agree with Elisa. I think
It needs to
even
be
even if
bigger.
it's just recycling, I think it needs to be bigger because,
Cardboard boxes are gonna leave that lid open, and then there's gonna be
Yeah.
food in there, and then it's gonna look like this
Okay.
in very quickly. So, or can you get another dumpster with a lid that's specifically for recycling, and then you skip this?
Well, I can ask. It's an
I
issue
mean,
of
they're
space
not
to
the
put
best
it.
looking,
Yeah.
these, it's not really a roll-off.
It's a 2-yard kind of.
Yeah, that picks it
Yeah,
up, it
yeah.
tilts it, the lid opens, it looks really, it's not attractive.
well, at my office, we have 2 of those, one for recycling, one for trash, one for cardboard, and then we have like a thing for recycling, and it just has a fence around it, and you just open the gate and go in. So
Right,
then
same
it's
thing at
totally
like the
sealed.
water
Yeah,
closet.
so it's totally
So
sealed
maybe you
off.
eliminate this program and you do 2 dumpsters like back to back or however best for the truck to back in and lift it and dump it, but this doesn't work.
Okay, we'll chat with them and see what they can put in for us. We do also have 3 more barrels over in the dumpster area right now too for cans and,
Just freestanding.
well, they're actually in a little shed next to the house. Similar to that. Either way, we'll talk to them about a dumpster.
Yeah, there needs to be like an overview plan of how to deal with trash, because I'll just say it one last time, it's not working. And if I was living there, that would be very upsetting to me. And it also, when something looks like this, it makes other people disrespect the area, and it just continues. And if things are marked clearly, especially for people that English isn't their first language, and put it in Spanish or Latvian or Bulgarian, whatever, it just, if something's for recycling, it needs to be labeled that, and trash needs to be labeled that, because clearly people aren't getting it.
So perhaps you can speak with Roberto further about that. I mean,
Yep.
obviously he's very educated in that area of how the.
He's got a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Susan,
Yeah.
do you know what the frequency is that you're picking up the garbage? Because that might solve the problem.
Oh, yeah,
if
that's
you
true, Jen.
increase.
So during the peak season, it's twice a week. And, this time of year, it's once a week.
Yeah,
But, yeah, we'll talk to them more about recycle. Recycle comes on a different.
yeah, maybe add one more day in the summer when you're
Yeah.
full.
I have one last comment. In a trash bin that's made of pine, that's sitting on the ground, is more likely to have rats get into it, since somebody mentioned rats. But those things that are on casters, the rats can't get in because it's a metal container. So that needs to be thought through properly also.
We will get the landlord on that ASAP.
Okay.
Can
Yep.
I actually ask you something? This is a yearly review?
So,
I think it was just one time, but if you wanted to,
Well, I was
if you
thinking,
come back in a year and do this again.
my thoughts were to come back like beginning August and see how things are going.
Or how about the beginning of the summer? So we see what the program is before people
Yeah,
show
that's-
up.
I'm fine
And
with
it's a
that.
bad program, we can correct it.
well, I don't want to make these guys come back if they don't need to, but what if we could also agree that if the neighbors still have complaints, that we come back and have a conversation? Because I feel like if the applicant's able to work out, the only issue that seems to be outstanding is trash, and then if the neighbors at 1030 acres or other abutters have issues and make a complaint, then if we can
I don't want to
agree
wait
come back.
for it to come to a complaint. I think they should issue us in the beginning of the season photographs of how they dealt with the garbage. I don't want to wait for somebody to have to complain about it.
And I agree.
Okay.
I mean, I think, it puts some pressure on you.
It doesn't need to be an application that needs
Right,
to be
it just-
heard. It could just be submitted with their file of this is how we remedied it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, my concern is more about the, the abutters that have had issues, that they're satisfied with what's
Well,
done.
then we can have them submit pictures sooner. And the abutters can be informed. I just don't want the people to have to complain again.
I'm a fan of abdicating this to the health department. I mean, all these would be health
Yeah.
department violations, and I think Roberto has a good connection there.
Right, it's just hard because he's also the complaining neighbor.
Right.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
no.
Yeah, right, so,
Well, that's good.
so that's why
Well,
I'm
no way.
saying,
All
like,
right,
if
what do you
Roberto,
wanna do?
from my point of view, if Roberto's satisfied as the abutter and as the health department and not filing violations, then I don't know that's why I'm saying I don't know if they need to come back because it's, I guess because it's Roberto, but,
I wasn't aware of that
Yeah,
until
yeah.
right now.
sorry.
But even so, there are people that might not be the complaining type that are unhappy with it, and I just don't think it
Yeah,
should
that's
have to
true.
come to that.
Okay, good point.
What if we submit something like a report in writing by?
With photos.
Yeah, with photos, by when, July 1st
Um,
or June 1st, whatever you want. And then.
I'd say June 15th maybe,
June 15th.
because,
Okay.
right? like-
June 1st, Memorial Day. I mean, that's when things, that way, if they have to remedy anything, we're not giving them till August to
When,
fix it.
when do all your people show
I'll tell
up?
you what,
When
the
is-
other tenants arrive mid-April, so let's do May 1st. That way, we
Okay.
can make sure they're trained up, we're good.
Okay,
So we don't have an issue with that at all.
That's
Like I
great.
said, I'm in contact with Roberto and Frank,
the condo association, okay.
This will be handled on an administrative basis, I assume?
Yeah, I think they wouldn't have to come back to the board unless there was some issues that we
So
needed.
I'll send everything in to Billy on May 1st, and then Jake comes out and does an inspection before everybody, Jake can help part for everybody comes in anyway, so we should be in good shape.
Billy, it looked like you had something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they send it to me, I can distribute it to the board, and I could even work with Roberto. If we get a copy of Jake's health inspection at that same point
Sure.
in time, I can forward that to the board as well.
Okay, and we're not voting on anything, we're just doing a review, but we do have the ability to add additional conditions or requirements, but it doesn't seem like anyone had anything else that we needed to add, we just were looking for improvement on what's there. Okay,
I have one more question.
sure, Michael.
Is there a pest control program
Yep,
that exists today?
Yeah, Buzz Off, I guess is the name of the company, always cracks me up, but Buzz Off from Mount Island does a pest control every month.
Okay, thank you.
Nikki, is there anyone else in the audience on Zoom? Anyone in the audience here that wish to speak on this one? No. Okay. So we're not, there's no motion to be made other than to just close the hearing.
Yeah, if you wanted to potentially impose more conditions, you could do that. Otherwise, you would just close the public hearing.
Yeah, I think, it looked like no one had any additional conditions to add on, so.
Do we need to add in there that they will submit a report by May 1st and then come back to us in November? Is that an additional condition, or is the fact that we can open this at any time, is that sufficient?
Well, I don't think, as Sarah said, I don't think this is like an annual review. I think it was just the one time, so. Right, so I guess if we wanted to do an annual review, we could.
I'm not suggesting that we do one each year. It may be worthwhile, sort of depending on what the report in May shows that we have it, or that to know that the neighbors can come back after sort of the trial year.
We should do a decision that says, we'll do this report through staff administratively May 1st, and then we'll come back November of 2024, just for one more review. We can see how it went, if it went fine, and very quickly up, and if we can talk about what else needs to happen.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that seems like a good compromise. So would someone make that motion then?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, so John made the motion, Elisa seconded. So we will conclude our review with the caveat that or condition that the applicant is going to submit a report to staff with photos of the trash and the fence and the parking and all of that. And then we will meet again in November of 2024 to do another review to see where we stand. I will go down the list. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative if you support this motion. So myself, I, John Brescher.
Aye.
Elisa Allen.
Aye.
Michael O'Mara. Joe Marklinger.
Aye.
Okay, so that motion passes. So we will look for your report in May and see you in next November.
This housing issue is something else, isn't it? Yeah, how is people?
Believe me, it'd be much easier without it.
I know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next two have both requested to continue to January, correct? Ms. Cohen is to
Isn't there,
2022.
on the Monomoy,
They
are they going to withdraw it?
no, they requested to continue.
I wanted to make a quick point.
Yeah.
They requested to continue after I did the staff report. I had them sign an extension to the end of January 2024. So the action deadline has been moved out.
Okay.
How long do they get to keep on extending it? Forever?
My hope was to bring them in here today to talk to the board. The applicant's representative did reach out to me and say he was not going to be able to make the meeting today. So, the practice of this board has been to grant continuances upon request. So,
All right, thanks.
if the board would like to be more forceful on their attendance in January, I can make sure the applicant's aware.
Let's discuss that. What? Let's look. Arthur, did you have something to add to the discussion of continuance? Okay, I think we should look at this in January because both of these have continued for a long time. So, and I agree with you, Billy, that we have had a history of granting continuances, but these two have been lingering for a very long time and taking up space on our agenda. So let's see what happens yeah, agreed. So
They're sort of, the applicant's waiting for February when nobody shows up.
yeah. So we do need to address this.
The board did speak about this. I was reading through old minutes. You guys had discussed this a few years back, and I was planning on, if they were coming forward wanting a decision from the board, I was going to make the applicant for either of these applications would need to renotice abutters. They've been on hold for far too long for anyone for it to be considered fair.
Yeah. Agreed. So, so today we will entertain the motion to continue both 0922 and 2022 to the regularly scheduled January 11th, 2024 meeting. And at that point, we can hopefully speak with the applicant in person and figure out. Okay, Arthur, did you have something you'd like to add?
Yes, I represent Joanne Bennett, an abutter to the property, and I have been following this ever since it was originally on the agenda last January. Been continued month to month. This time, it didn't appear that it had been continued, so my clients are now, attending, and again, going to the inconvenience of having to appear in connection with this today. I have no objection to it being continued, but I agree with the point that new notification, new published notice and notice to abutters needs to be given. And it seems a bit irregular, frankly, that this case has been continued as many times as it has without there being any real explanation for that or presentation to the board. Again, we're trying to monitor it month by month, and this should only go just so far. Again, I don't object to it being continued today, but I agree with new notice being given, and I do think that there should be a somewhat shorter leash on the applicant than has been the case up to the present time. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Okay, so for today's purposes, would someone make a motion to continue 0922 and 2022 to the January 11th, 2024 meeting?
May I ask Billy a question about when this application first, when this started? How long have we been continuing it?
Exactly 1 year.
No.
It was heard at the January 2023 meeting for the first time. 29 Monomoy, 50 Weweeder was heard, I believe, in October of 2022.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
No one wants, does anyone want to make a motion to continue?
Oh, I'll make
then?
the motion.
Okay, so Lisa makes the motion.
Sorry.
I think I'm gonna do these, can we do them separately, actually, because John's on this first one. So can you just make a motion to continue 0922? Oh, Lisa.
Yes.
And would someone
I make
second that?
motion.
So moved.
All right, so Jim second that. Okay. So the sitting on this one was Elisa, myself, Michael, Mark, and Jim. I'll have you vote since you seconded it. So please respond in the affirmative. Myself, aye. Elisa?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mark Poor?
Aye.
Okay. And then for 2020-22, would someone make the motion for that one?
I'll make the motion to continue until January.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, and Elisa seconded. Okay, so again, roll call, myself, aye. Michael O'Mara,
Aye.
Elisa Allen.
Aye.
John Brescher.
Aye.
And Jim Mondani.
Aye.
Okay, all right, so those two are continued. Okay, so moving on to new business, we have application 18-23, 7 I Street LLC, 7 I Street being presented by Ruth Thornewill. John, you're recused, so he's out. Okay, Mr. Thornewill, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. My name is Luke Thornewill, and I have my client and the owner, Amelia here with me as well. We're asking that we have a current existing garage studio be allowed to turn it into a single-family dwelling. It would become a one-bedroom single-family dwelling. Currently, there are 2 garage parking spaces on the first floor, and that's the area which we're proposing to turn into the general living area. And the current studio that's on the second floor will be converted to a bedroom. The existing footprint, we're not proposing to change at all. We're not, all of the mechanical equipment outside, which consists of 2 AC units, will remain as they are. We're not proposing to add anything whatsoever to the existing that would differ from what is currently there. A front door, it's been approved by the HCC. The garage doors that are currently there have been replaced with a front door and 2 windows. We feel that, we're going to be, in some respects, creating a safer exit from the property in terms of the cars inside the garage, which would have a blind spot back onto I Street right now. We're creating a safer environment and then being entirely on the exterior. We're upgrading the number of car parking spaces to 4, which are our plan, which we submitted at the request of Billy Sod, shows clearly how we would do that as stacked side by side. This originally, the owner was originally going to, knock down the existing house and build a bigger family dwelling. But in the long run, in respecting the low profile of Nantucket, she's decided just to keep the existing 1-story primary dwelling, and for her son's extended family, create an option here for them to occupy it as a second dwelling. It's not being anticipated to be used for any sort of short-term rentals. I think I've covered everything and would ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Do you think you're going to have a problem with the Board of Health?
I'm sorry?
The septic system adding,
Yeah, we have a 3-bedroom septic system. There's a 2-bedroom, the main house is 2-bedroom. This will be a 1-bedroom.
so when you originally got the 3-bedroom septic system, you only had 2 bedrooms in the house? What, in other words, why?
Well, the studio right now it's approved upstairs.
I understand this, but that's not a bedroom, right?
Well, it's considered a bedroom by the health department in the sense of room count. So we're not changing, the bedroom room count.
Okay.
Where does that person who's in the studio bedroom, what bathroom do they use?
There's a bathroom on the second floor.
There's an existing bathroom on
Oh,
the second.
in that studio?
In the studio, there's a bathroom up there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that exists.
So that's the 3rd bedroom bathroom on the property already?
Yeah. So we're not adding number of bedrooms to the property.
Okay. Wait, what are you here asking for then? Sorry.
We're asking for a change of use from, in that it's a non-conforming structure, from a garage studio to a second dwelling. That way the family can legally live in there as a dwelling.
So right now they're illegally living in there.
Yeah, that's my question.
Like, when did it get approved? When did it get permission to be used for human habitation?
It never did. It was always a studio. But to Mr. Markland's point, in terms of how the health department calculates rooms that go to a bedroom count,
Right.
it goes to that count. That's how the health department calculate. Even if you're not using, it could be a library or something, or it could be a office, all of those auxiliary rooms go to a total count, when the health department's evaluating how many rooms. So
You're
He's right-
saying
he's
that,
right
that-
about
wait,
that.
hold on. You're saying that the health department looks at a library, a living room, a dining room, and calls it a bedroom?
I'm saying that the number, when the health department evaluates bedroom count, what's called bedroom count, sometimes they're trying to apply it to the septic system, but let's
Right.
say I have a library, an office, all these other rooms. They would add that, those would add up as bedroom. They would count those as bedrooms.
Isn't it the opposite? The septic system is calculated to support 3 bedrooms, and then they want to find 3, there, you can only have a maximum of 3 bedrooms. Right? Like, you can't just,
Can I say something?
sure.
What was happening, it's not happening here, was that people would call rooms something else, a
Right.
den, a library.
Right.
To get because they would only
Have
have
a
a 4-bedroom
3-bedroom,
system, a
right, right,
3-bedroom
right.
system. So
Now,
the Board of Health says, well, if it can be used as a bedroom.
It's a bedroom.
It's a bedroom.
Right.
So the existing system's designed for 3 bedrooms.
Oh, and so they're just saying, okay,
But they're
even
gonna-
though it's for, not for human habitation, they're too.
Right,
they're too-
yeah, the Board of Health is saying it could be,
So we're going to count it.
because you could go to the Board of Appeals.
And you're
get
using it
permission,
currently.
and then,
Right,
then
and
it's a
you're
bedroom.
using it currently as a bedroom.
No, we're not
No, they're using it
that
as a
way.
studio.
It's a studio.
Not
It
a
was
studio
per-
apartment, a studio.
but this letter says it's being used.
But you just said
as
that
a
the
bedroom.
family uses it as a bedroom.
Yeah,
And they'll continue to use it.
you need to go to the,
No, it is a studio. It's permitted as a studio.
But you just said when the people sleep in there in the summer, and what bathroom do they
No,
use? And you said,
it's what they want to do in the future.
It's
But
a
that's what's
one-bed- it's a
existing right
one-bedroom- It would become, with your approval, a 1-bedroom dwelling.
okay, then I misheard. I thought you were saying, I was just confused as,
well, that's, I heard the
and what I
same
was
thing.
asking was, when did it get approved for human habitation if it's being used as for human habitation now?
We're asking for it to become a.
So you're trying to be legit.
Yeah,
You're just
we're
trying to go legit
We're
here.
going legit. We're.
You're saying
let's-
you're saying it's already being used as a second dwelling, pretty much, and we're
No.
gonna.
But
we
the
want it to
neighbor
last.
is saying that they've seen it being used as,
No, I'm not talking to the
dwelling.
neighbor. I'm
I
just
mean,
talking about
no,
what
I know,
what
I know.
what I just heard said. I'm
Right,
just
I
looking for
heard it too.
clarification. So
Madam
Chair.
if I misheard, then
It's permitted only as a studio, so
Right.
not for human habitation.
right.
We're applying for it to be.
I understand
yeah.
that. What I'm saying is, I thought
I heard
that
the
it
same.
was being slept in and used as basically a bedroom now, and people were using it during the summer for sleeping overnight, which is human habitation. That's what I thought I heard you say. And I'm looking at a permit that says that it's not for human habitation. So I get what you're asking, but it's more like for forgiveness, I guess, is what I'm hearing, or what I thought I heard. But what did you want to say, Mark?
Just to simplify things on the bedroom count, typically the Board of Health looks at any structure that has a full bath to have 1 bedroom.
Right.
That's how they look at it, whether it's a bedroom or not. So you have to have the septic capacity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To have that. So it's a bathroom thing more than the space thing.
Yeah. All right, so the 2 neighbors wrote in, they're not supportive of this change.
Are there 2 storage trailers on the property? Where are they? Are they on the, what, I wonder what that
I
means.
know, what are they
Are there 2
referencing there?
storage trailers?
This is the owner. Do you wanna speak?
Sure, just go to the microphone, please, and identify yourself.
Maureen Dunphy, homeowner, 7 I Street. I have a couple of trailers on the property, yes.
Are they permanent, or are they?
They're towable trailers. One is for my boat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they're
One is an
saying,
open
It says
trailer.
storage trailers. I was thinking of
What's
a
the
big
second
metal
one?
I
container.
have 3. I have one for my boat. I have one open trailer that I transport things in back and forth to home. And I have 2 of those. One is covered and one is open.
so they're not, it's not like a,
Shipping container.
yeah, it's not like a container.
no.
It's just
Oh,
like,
okay.
okay.
All right, sorry. I didn't know how to interpret
Yeah, me too.
that.
I saw that too. I wouldn't call a boat trailer or
Yeah,
like a trailer,
yeah,
like a
a
storage
storage trailer.
trailer. Yeah. That's misleading. Okay.
I'd like to ask another question. That, What's going on with the shed? It looks,
Yeah.
I mean, it has a nice deck, and it looks like it's gonna have an outside shower.
Oh,
There is
really?
no outside shower. It does have
Well,
an.
there's a enclosure that looks like
Says outdoor shower.
an
That was
outside
built
shower.
for trash bins.
Oh,
Says
okay.
outdoor shower.
What page are you looking at?
89.
It says outdoor shower on this plan.
No, there is one in the main
no.
building, there's one, but
Existing shed, ODS, outdoor shower.
I went out and looked at it, there's no plumbing. There wasn't a shower head anyway,
On
What
the
date?
shed?
on the shed.
There is no plumbing in
Yeah.
the shed or on the outside of the shed or anywhere near the shed.
Oh,
Okay,
that's just labeled
well,
wrong.
we can include that in the decision.
Is there an outdoor shower on the, what's now the garage? The
Yes.
garage?
Yes,
So the outdoor shower on the shed is actually a storage, just like a fence for storage?
it's not an outdoor shower. It's just for trash bins on the shed.
Okay.
What is the function of the shed?
For storage.
Storage?
Why do you think your neighbors are opposing it?
I have one neighbor that has harassed me for 12 years for just about anything, including how I cut my hedge and mow my lawn.
Anyone on the board have any other questions?
Madam Chair? I
Yes.
just have something that might be considered on addendum A on paragraph 4. It says, and I'll paraphrase, as a result, there will be no exterior change to the structure. Well, obviously, there are going to be exterior changes to the structure because the garage doors are being removed, the front entry door is putting on, and windows are being putting in. So I think the language needs to change.
For there to be
What
legal.
paragraph is this?
Paragraph 4
On what page are you?
on
Oh,
87.
here, no exterior change.
With no change to the footprint.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that.
No, I understand, I
Yeah,
understand.
exactly.
This is
It should
HTC
change the
approved?
language.
Yes.
Or we can address that in our decision.
Yeah. I mean, or it's just say HTC approval is, the appropriate exhibit.
Yeah, we just usually say it has to conform to whatever the HTC approval is when reference the COA.
And I think we should also reference that obviously it needs to have legal egress if this is now going to be a dwelling.
Well, I think
And
they
that'll
just said,
be an
I think they said, right, you were
interior
putting on a
staircase
front,
and
taking off the
exterior.
garage doors and adding a front door. Didn't you say the garage doors were going away and it was gonna have a front door?
Yes.
What are there exterior stairs going on it? What are the two?
They're already there.
forms? Oh, they are? Okay, sorry. Oh, I see. Here we go. Gotcha. Oh, there this is. Okay. Oh, I see. Uh-huh. And this elevation stays as is.
That elevation stays exactly where it is.
Uh-huh.
Modified.
Okay, thank you. You want to show Mark?
No, I get it.
Oh, Mr. O'Meara?
Have you already been
I
to
just
the
think that
planning board?
language is,
Have you already been to the
Should be
planning
changed.
board? For second dwelling approval?
Nothing to the planning board yet.
Right, so they were coming here
Yeah,
first.
makes sense.
And just, there is no proper order. They could go planning board or zoning board first. They can do either or.
Was there anyone on Zoom that had any comments? No, okay. Does anyone in the audience have anything for this one? No, okay. Okay, so other than the calling out that there's, what did you want to say, Jim, about the exterior changes? Or Lisa, was that you? Sorry.
I just asked what the exterior changes were, and Luke just showed this.
In compliance with the
Building code on
COA.
Yeah.
And confirming that there's no outdoor shower or plumbing in the shed.
I don't think we have to.
Does anyone, are there
It's a
any other
clerical
questions
error on
or
engineering.
concerns for the applicant?
No. There's enough off-street parking, looks like,
Yeah, it's,
in red.
yeah. So secondary, so it's in the VR district. Secondary dwellings are allowed in the VR district and subject to a couple conditions which the applicant meets. One of them is the ground cover of the secondary dwelling shall be minimum of 20% less or more than the primary dwelling, which it meets. And the primary and secondary dwellings must be separated by a minimum distance of 10 feet measured at grade at the closest point between the buildings, which it also meets. The parking layout is provided on the site plan, page 89, meets a minimum requirement of 4 parking spaces in the VR zoning district. If we approve the change in use, then they do have to go to the planning board to get a secondary dwelling approval. So if we are supportive of the applicant's request, we would make the finding that the proposed change in use from a garage studio to a secondary dwelling would be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the bylaw. The non-conforming setback distances are not being made more non-conforming and would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conformity. And then for conditions, potentially we could have, there's no further expansion of the structures without further relief from the ZBA. The proposed changes to the structure shall be in conformance with the certificate of appropriateness number, insert number, and
Septic matches the amount of bedrooms.
well, that'll have to be because they'll have to
go to the
that'd have
Board
to
of
go to Board of Health. That's not us. But, and then that the shed will have no plumbing and no outdoor shower because it shows it on the plan, but we'll just call it out that it's not having that. Does anyone have anything else? No. Would someone like to make that motion? You guys are quiet today.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay. And Michael seconds. Okay, so we'll do roll call. When I call your name, say aye if you support this Mark's motion. Myself, aye. Elisa?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And Mark?
Aye.
Sorry, was that 4 or 5? 4. And Joe?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, so that carries 4-1. Thank you for your time. Okay, moving on. We will hear from Mr. Hunton for application 19-23 2 Easton Street, LL. Oh wait, does someone want to get John Brescher?
This is the deck.
Luke, if you see John Brescher in the hallway, would you just send him in? Thank you so much. So, sorry, I'll start again when he comes back in.
Could Mrs. Hunton please be promoted to presenter?
What was that?
Could Mrs. Hunton please be promoted to presenter on the Zoom?
Sure. Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Cole Bateman. I'm a project manager for Coastal Engineering.
Cole is it Bateman?
Bateman, yeah.
Bateman, okay.
I'm the engineer on record.
Oh, cool, okay. Can you do that, Nikki, for Miss? Okay. Okay. So application 19-23 to Easton Street LLC and Nantucket Boathouse LLC, 2 and 6 Easton Street. Mr. Cole Bateman and Ms. Hunton presenting. Mr. Bateman, you want to start?
Sure thing. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Cole Bateman, professional engineer with Coastal Engineering Company, representing the applicant Steve Bartram for his proposed dock replacement project. We're requesting the granting of a special permit for an existing pre-existing non-conforming residential pier, according to Section D of the island perimeter restrictions. The proposed project consists of replacing the pier in the exact same footprint, however, elevating it to meet certain aspects of the design criteria, which include coastal resiliency, as well as to improve public access along the beach. Currently, the pier is subject to storm damage. It's also deteriorating. Though it's constantly maintained, the structural components are at the end of their service life, and the applicant would like to replace the pier generally in like kind. However, there are some differentiations that I mentioned. So again, the proposed changes include elevating the pier to create a 5x5 access way, which is consistent with the Department of Environmental Protection Waterways Division access along shorelines beneath structures that extend beyond the mean high water line. The second is to reconfigure the pier layout to be more consistent with contemporary construction techniques and spans of beams and joists. And then the third would be to replace the gangway to accommodate a safe access because of the raised height of the pier, to make it so that it's a lower slope because of the raised height. Additionally, outside of the scope of really this application, there is work to an existing bulkhead structure. And I would like to say that all aspects of this project have been approved by the Nantucket Conservation Commission and the Historic District Commission. So again, we're requesting a special permit to the island perimeter restrictions. Those restrictions do not allow new residential piers. This is an existing residential pier, and we believe that the proposed work is not detrimental to the marine environment for which the restriction is supposed to protect, because it's allowing increased public access. It's also improving the structure to prevent it from deteriorating further and creating damage within the marine environment. With all that being said, we hope you consider this project for approval of a special permit. Thank you.
Sorry. I had one question. We did reach out to the harbor master, and she got back and said it looked to her like you were extending it. Is that? No,
the gangway's being extended, but it's just because the height of the pier is being raised. So it's just a longer gangway, but the footprint is.
And do you need, she mentioned something about the Coast Guard. Do you need to run it by them, that if
There are butters, right?
They were notified during the butter process. There are 2 more permits rather, that we have to get. It's a Army Corps. Army Corps, correct, and then a minor modification to the Chapter 91 license.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, does the governor sign this permit?
So I think that he already has signed the license. We're just requesting a minor modification, so it's a much more simple administrative process.
So how do you go about constructing it in the same location, same size as?
So the pier was surveyed, and then base points would be established on land that then could bring the same footprint back out into the water. There's been a couple ways that that's been done, whether it's rods actually located in the sand, or I've worked where the contractor will actually orient their barge and spud it in and then survey the barge so they can do offsets.
How much taller is it going to be?
3 feet. Yeah, 3 feet.
3 feet taller.
3 feet taller, correct.
And there, Billy, there was no negative mail from anybody and no butters.
No, I didn't receive a response back from the Natural Resources Department, no letters from abutters, and I will say the Coast Guard has been notified on this multiple times at this point.
And you have, you mentioned in your presentation, you have Concom approval.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead.
I'm just shocked this is in our purview. I've never
I know.
never in my wildest
Or zone.
imagination would I think that this, I mean, this feels just ripe for Concom and we're natural resources.
Well, I
approved
Yeah, I know, but that they would
I
include us as
think,
well.
I think for us,
Fascinating.
Well, considering there's only
It
a
became zoning
handful.
about
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
My only comment would be, did coastal resiliency have to have any input on this, or would that go through Concom?
Not a court. I went by the bylaw, which is
Okay.
13922, and who I'm supposed to send it to based on that.
Fabulous. Okay.
So now will there be like 5 steps up to it from the lawn?
From the lawn, from the private
the top
access,
of the
correct.
grade.
But however, now you'd be able to navigate the beach
By
beneath
going
it.
under it
You're
more
correct.
easily?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and I mean, I think there's a benefit to the public for that, so.
I think the regulation really ties, sorry to interrupt, I think the
That's okay.
regulation really ties into the harbor management plan where there's a similarity between the zoning bylaws and that, so it's sort of tied into how the local level of the harbor plan.
Michael, did you already ask your question?
I think he answered it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, my questions I had were pretty much all answered in the presentation. Did you want Miss Hunton or Mrs. Hunton to say anything? Or she,
Michelle certainly can,
just that you asked to have her added as a presenter. I didn't know if she wanted to
Oh,
add.
good afternoon. No, I just joined. I think I'm all set. I think Cole presented all of the issues here. I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has any, but
Just, I
have
have
anything
one
to add.
question actually additional on this bulkhead. So is that where the existing bulkhead is?
So there's an existing bulkhead, that's correct. There's a new, it's really maintaining the existing bulkhead by installing an additional layer seaward of the existing, and then raising that up 1 foot for coastal resiliency consideration.
So it looks like, so is it blocked off on the western side of the property?
On the western side of the property, that's where the old Brant Point Light used to be.
I mean, yeah, the western side.
The east side would be
On the Coast Guard side.
Coast Guard side, western side.
Oh, no, it's not. I mean, it's those, so maybe those lines that you see, those are existing groins, but it's still accessible from the barge for which the project would be constructed from.
Access there.
Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this one? No. Is there anyone on Zoom who wanted to speak to this? Okay. Does the board have any further questions for the applicant? Okay, so staff recommends approval. The findings that we would find is that the proposed repairs and alteration are not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure and or use to the neighborhood, and that the proposed repairs and alteration do not result in a net increase of the structure's existing footprint and is not more detrimental to the marine environment than the existing structure.
Madam Chair,
Yep,
I think we're not doing a repair here, we're doing a replacement, so I think the language needs to change a little bit in what you said.
okay. Was it noticed as a replacement or a repair?
An alteration.
Yeah, I mean, it
Is an
goes under
alteration pretty similar to
so
Okay.
it had
replacement?
It had it
All right.
encompassed with an alteration.
Okay,
That's fine.
so,
And that's,
That is the language from the bylaw when dealing with even a replacement of a structure, it's
We
still
just call it a
considered an
repair.
alteration.
Okay, but so do we want to get rid of the word repair then?
Yeah, I think
Sure.
that would be fine.
Okay, so what I just said minus the word repair. And then a condition to consider would be that the project shall be completed in accordance with the plan entitled Plan Showing Proposed Dock Improvements prepared for 2 Easton Street LLC dated November 13th, 2023, prepared by Coastal Engineering Co. So the finding number 2, that the proposed alteration does not result in a net increase of the structure's existing footprint. It is you said because the increase in height, it is extended a little bit, but that's out of necessity.
So it's not extended in plan view, it's extended just because the the angle of the ramp would be different because the pier is being raised, but the float would stay the same height. So just to have safe access to the float, we're being more consistent with the Chapter 91 license and installing it's a 30-foot gangway as opposed to the 24-foot one that's currently there. So it's no change in footprint.
Okay, okay.
I just have a question
Sure.
that I'm just curious about. I'm seeing on the C100 plan of yours, I'm seeing the bulkhead, what looks like the new bulkhead, and the wording is so tiny, I would need a magnifying glass to see what all that says, but how much further into the beach from where the bulkhead exists now, how much further towards the water is the new bulkhead going?
So it's being installed as tight as possible to the wall. There might be some variation, so it's hard to say exactly, but within 2 or 3 feet.
So is it literally just attaching to the existing one?
Yeah, exactly, correct.
Oh, okay. It looks like a lot more here, but I don't know what the scale is.
And
Okay.
that's being capped.
I have a question, perhaps for Billy or the applicant. Who will be writing the decision on this?
I haven't asked the applicant's attorney, so I don't know if she would be writing it or if I would.
Okay.
I think we just want to make sure that, you're saying that because you want to make sure it references all of
It's
these?
pretty technical stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think that it should reference, I sort of feel like we're giving it a very, superfluous kind of review because all of these other very technical things have been done before us. So I think that whoever drafts a decision, I would love to see a lot of reference to all of these other decisions by other boards and agencies that were made that we're just basically blessing, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I think this process kind of is laid out that way, unfortunately. I mean,
that's fine. I don't think they're the other people who reviewed it at a much more technical level are making the decision. We're basically just.
This is an alteration of a license.
It's minor modification. I think there's a differentiation there, correct?
So I just think it's probably best done by somebody who does a lot of marine law and permitting.
So maybe you could have the attorney give it a go.
I will happily hand that duty off to them.
Okay. So would someone entertain making a motion to approve the relief as requested based on the findings I read and with the condition I read?
And the new wording of new rather than replace.
Yep.
Or
Replace
repair.
rather than repair.
Replace rather
It just
than
says
repair.
alteration.
Just leave,
Yeah,
just
just
leave it all.
alteration. Yep.
I will make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Michael makes motion. Lisa seconds. Okay, so when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative if you support the motion, Michael's motion. Myself, I, John Brescher.
Aye.
Elisa Allen.
Aye.
Michael O'Mara.
Aye.
Joe Marklinger.
Aye.
Okay, so that carries. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so moving on to our next application, 20-23, 5 Amelia Drive LLC. 5 Amelia Drive is property, and Attorney Arthur Reade is representing the applicant. Attorney Reade, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. This is an application for a modification of a variance that was granted some years ago in connection with the restaurant on Amelia Drive that was formerly known as Cinco and then later as Keepers. The property now belongs to an entity which is owned and controlled by Reade, Nantucket. And it has been before the planning board in connection with the modification of the use of the property from a restaurant to a building containing multiple commercial kitchens for use by various people on the island who need commercial kitchens, which is a need that has been pretty well established. And Remain is attempting to service that need by converting the building accordingly. Would also contain a takeout station with a small area where people would be able to sit and in some cases eat some of the food that they would have purchased at the takeout station. Not intended that it be a restaurant or that there be any table service. In any event, this was before the planning board, which approved placing a permanent roof over the area in the front yard setback, in which it was allowed that there would be a patio with awning over it in connection with the original ZBA decision granting the variance. And the planning board, in its decision, considered that and in fact authorized as part of their special permit that there be a roof over the area in question. However, it is still a condition of the ZBA variance that was granted originally to Cinco that area be covered by an awning, and this would be a modification to allow the awning to be replaced by a roof. As I say, the planning board is supportive of the overall project, which I think is, in the interest of the island and businesses on the island. And we would hope that the ZBA would vote to amend the variance accordingly. Thank you.
Arthur, so the proposed new structure, are you continuing to keep the as close to 2 feet from the front yard lot line?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be the same. It'll be in the same location.
And how many chairs? I mean, it's not going to be a restaurant, so how is it like? Is it like takeout food, or how do the how many seats are they proposing there?
I have Jen King from Remain on the call with me, and perhaps you could recognize her. I don't have a specific number as to the number of seats. I'm not sure that we have that specifically planned out at this point, but perhaps Jen can shed some light on it.
That would be helpful.
I'm bringing, oh, okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. So it's not going to be a restaurant of any form. What we would have is essentially takeout and vending machines that are stocked by makers and the people using the kitchens. So what we would allow is a few tables for meetings, for the makers to sit down, for people who have purchased, say, a sandwich from a food locker to sit down and eat it. There's no table service. It's nothing like that. But we do anticipate that the porch area will be used for makers to get together to discuss marketing and possibly bring in speakers to help them with their businesses and as they learn to scale.
Did you say vending machines?
Food lockers.
Wait a minute.
And the setback is 5 feet in the front on this front yard off Amelia?
It's 10 feet.
It's 10 feet.
Well, I'd like to comment that the awning arrangement there is so horrendous that I think a permanent roof would aesthetically be much better.
I agree, but
But
why
now I'm
can't-
worried about the vending
But why
machines.
can't you pull it back to the setback? Because it's not going to be a restaurant and it's going to be takeout and vending machines. Like it doesn't, I don't understand why it needs to go so close to the road. I mean, Amelia Drive is so congested anyway. And to have it right there on the edge of the sidewalk, why can't you pull it back to at least, or, yeah, why can't you pull it back to the setback?
Well, we're not reconstructing the building. We're altering the interior of the building for its present use. but-
No,
but
I'm
we're
talking,
dealing with the
no, I'm
building
talking about
as it is.
the awning, Arthur, like where the concrete, like there's like that slab or whatever it is that goes
Yeah.
like almost to the edge of the sidewalk. Why can't the outdoor, now that the awning and the somewhat permanent awning structure, all the metal and all that jazz is gone, and it's just the flat slab surface, why can't they make it conform with the front yard setback and just have whatever structure you want to put, whatever roof, whatever place, have that meet the setback? You could always like put benches or whatever outside in the setback for people to sit and enjoy their food, locker, lunch or whatever. But I just don't understand why you need to keep the setback intrusion.
Well, it gives us a lot less room to operate. I mean, if it's cut back, and the idea is to have with the awning and now with the roof is to have something over the heads of the people. I mean, if you haven't noticed, Nantucket weather is unpredictable and sometimes unpleasant, and we do need something over the area in order to enable its use. And again, we're entitled to continue using the awning as far as that's concerned, but as was pointed out, I think that the roof is a better solution across the board, and certainly is going to have a better appearance as well as being more functional.
Well, the argument made in the original decision for having the awning was that there was no, they couldn't use the rear of the building. They needed it for parking spaces, and there was nowhere else for them to have people to sit. I think
Right.
if you're changing the use, I mean, if you're changing maybe not the use in terms of zoning, but how you're using the building, there's, as Jen said, there's not going to be table service. It's going to be more for people to sit and talk and meet and this and that. It seems like you could do that on the back of the building. I don't know offhand the parking calculation, but if you're not having tables and sit down restaurant, it's certainly going to be less people coming and going, I would think. And so the parking calculation might change, but I still don't see if the use of the business and people coming and going, you're not having sit down table service and a restaurant style business, why you would need to have this the porch area and this permanent structure in the front yard setback. The hardship that existed, it seems, in the original decision is maybe too strong to say no longer there, but it's definitely minimized or lessened. It's diminished. Great, that's the better word, Joe. Thank you. No, that's fine. No, that's a better word. So
I have a question that.
I'm not sure that's the case. I mean, we're right on our parking. We went before the planning board in connection with the whole project, and we're we need all the parking that's there. We don't have we really don't have the ability to do this addition on any other part of the structure. It really wouldn't work very well on any other part of the structure, which is why we want to do it this way. Once again, the existing awning, would be entitled to remain. And we think this is just an improvement on that situation.
Yeah, Arthur, do you
And
see?
again, the planning board considered the whole thing and voted in favor of it specifically, although again, to the extent that requires the amendment of a variance, that's why it came back to you.
I have an important
hold on one
question.
second. I just want to clarify, but it says in the decision The awning shall be located no closer than 2 feet from the front yard lot line or along Amelia Drive. If
Yeah.
at any point in the future, the applicant proposes to convert the cloth awning and framework into a more permanent overhanging structure, such as a porch or deck, further relief from this board shall be required to permit such conversion. So I think you have to get further relief to do it, and I think that I don't think we have to continue to have the 2-foot intrusion, because you're changing the, I don't know, the style or the construction of this area from a seasonal awning to a permanent structure. Yeah, go ahead, Elisa.
My question is this, Arthur, again, on these plans, I don't see the scale, but can you tell me the depth of the proposed permanent covered porch from let's say, the edge of the road to the front door? And if we were to pull that back and then conform to the setback, what would that depth be of the front porch? I'm in favor of it becoming a permanent architectural feature and a covered area, but I'm also in agreement that it should now comply with setbacks. But I'd just like to know what we're going from with it as an awning to, if we were to pull it back, to be right on that setback, what the difference in footage is.
Jen, do you have that plan? I have a copy of it here that I'm looking at, but unfortunately it's reduced, so I'm having trouble reading it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's at 2 feet now and it has to go to 10, it would be 8.
But I don't know what the overall is right now.
Well, but it would be 8 feet less.
Okay, but I want to know what that leaves
I don't know,
them.
you've been there. It's about 25 or 30 feet, I would say.
I've never been up to the structure, but I'm
You've
just
never
curious.
gone in that entranceway to go into the restaurant?
Well, here, you can see
No.
this. I mean, it's not to scale, obviously.
No, I'm looking at it right here. So right here, so if that's 2 feet, so then if we cut off whatever this is, I want to know what they're going to have left right here. I want to know what they have
Yeah, I don't
left
know.
here, and if that's what my question is. I do too.
I'm guessing,
Because
looking at the plan,
table can fit, or small.
that
tables fit there
what's
for
now
conversations and
2
meetings.
feet would be, let's see, it would be reduced by 8 feet, which would mean that we would have, I would say, about, just trying to scale this off, about, I'm going to say 18 or 20 feet instead of
I guess 22.
26 to 28.
Oh,
No,
that's-
that's
In my,
an approximation.
and then in my opinion, that is very reasonable to ask them to go back to the setback with the new structure.
Well,
That's the new permanent structure.
I agree in a sense, but it's also the ground cover that they're losing. So they're losing 8 feet times the width of the building. So
Yeah,
all
it was
that space is going to disappear too, that they may need to use.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? If that's only space they're going to be using for meetings of the people that are cooking inside or people sitting that are buying from the vending machines,
Well,
that 18 feet is plenty of room. I mean, between you and me right now, we're probably 15 feet. That's still plenty of room if they then conformed to the front yard setback with the permanent structure.
And that's just the outside.
And I don't think that needs to affect any parking, anything on any other side of the building. I
But
think
the
that's,
parking also has to be affected when you're going from a big seat restaurant.
but I mean, they have it, so they have it. which
No, I
is
know, but
great.
what I'm saying is it's great they have it, but
They don't even need to do
no, I
that.
know, but I'm saying like,
Yeah.
you could get rid of that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But But I'm thrilled that it's not going to be an awning with all that aluminum
Correct.
framework. It's
Yeah.
going to look great.
Yeah, it will look great.
So if that just gets pulled back, that covered porch gets pulled back to the setback, I would vote yes on this.
Me too.
But if they pull that back to the setback, don't they no longer have to go in front of us?
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That'd be perfect.
Perfect.
No variance would be required.
Perfect.
But again, we still have the,
Should we vote on this application?
we still have the ability to keep the existing
Awning?
awning.
Well, they could put something permanent inside the awning, couldn't they? And then have the awning overhang to where it is now.
I mean, I
No.
think if
No.
they
I
have,
mean, so
No, they can't.
No, why would they be
They
able to
can't
do
do
that?
I'm saying they could do it.
Well, the HDC won't let them do it, and they can't do anything structurally permanent without a building permit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
I don't like the current situation, but to have meetings with staff and this dining area, I think you can do that under canvas. and
But I think
don't
you
need
can
a hard
also do
roof.
it in 18
Yeah.
feet.
Like,
But I think it would look
the
better.
rationale for having a permanent roof is, to me, not valid.
But if they want
Yeah.
to
You
spend
could
the
do it
money
in
and make it
10.
look nice.
Yeah. I just don't think you need this much space to do what they're saying they want to do. And I think that if you look at like the space that's outside, undercover.
Well, let's ask Arthur, do you think your client would build it still as a permanent structure, but meet the front setback?
I don't know. We haven't had that discussion, obviously. We didn't anticipate that. Again, the planning board was very supportive of doing it the way that is being proposed with the roof and with the setback remaining the same. And in fact, they approved that in connection with their special permit. The issue being that because there's a variance involved, you have a place at the table too, so long as we're operating within the framework of the variance.
So my feeling is that Amelia Drive is so overburdened that if there's an opportunity for us to relieve some zoning intrusion or some nonconformity, that it is our job to do that. And again, I'm one person, but I think that it's a reasonable request to say, okay, because we let them do that because it was an awning, and it's a different story when you're now saying you want to build a permanent structure to 2 feet from the setback. So I think it's a great idea. I like everything that's happening with this. I just think that if we can go from 2 feet back to the setback that's allowed by zoning, then that would be a much better option for the neighborhood in general, and less impactful and detrimental to Amelia Drive, which again is so overburdened, and in the summer is extremely overburdened.
And from a
Thickly
design
so.
standpoint, and I see Emeritus drew the plans, I think it would still look great as a permanent structure, but at that 5-foot setback. And I know Matt could design something that's going to look great.
Yeah, it'll still be.
And it's 18
feet.
feet is, if anybody takes out a tape measure, and 18 feet is from me to that wall, that's a huge amount of
Yeah,
space.
it's a really
If
big
we were
space.
cutting them back to 3 feet, then I would understand the reasoning for needing that extra,
The other way to
footage.
look at it though, is what they're losing, say those panels are 4 feet each.
Mhm.
So they're losing 2 panels.
But they're gaining
The
a
width-
permanent structure that they
Yeah.
can use all year round. So
Yeah.
the difference
But,
is,
well, to me, the difference.
But what do they need that
I
extra
don't-
8
I
feet
actually don't
for
care
if
about
they're
this that
not
much,
dining
but
there?
there's no one dining there.
There's
They're
no,
just getting-
what do they need the extra
That
8 feet for?
canvas thing that's there now.
It's
That
gone.
looks permanent to me. I
It's-
mean,
it's gone. It's ripped down.
oh, is it?
It's-
I haven't been down
yeah,
there in a long time.
It's gone.
It looks awful.
We approved it about
Yeah.
15 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And the overburdening of Amelia is a result of the approvals didn't allow any parking on Amelia.
Yes, yeah. And they have
Right.
sidewalks on both sides and
think
it's
this is-
just, it's got a lot of
I
issues.
think this is a great compromise
Yeah, I agree.
and not unreasonable
No,
Mm-hmm.
for what they want to use it for.
I agree.
If I were voting on this, I would agree with you all and not grant the change as is.
Same.
Yeah, I think so Arthur, I think at this point you could perhaps ask for a continuance to see if your client wants to
Yeah,
entertain.
that's exactly what I think we need to do in
Okay.
order to regroup and decide how we're going to proceed with this. Obviously, we've been going forward on the basis of the planning board's approval on this, and this does definitely change some things for us. So we would have to, we've got to reconsider the situation and get back to you.
Okay. All right, so that's a request for a continuance then to January 11th?
Yes.
Okay. So would someone make a motion to grant Arthur's continuance
I will.
request? Okay, so Elisa's making the motion.
I'll second.
Joe will second, and I will go down the list. Myself, I, John,
Aye.
Elisa,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
and Joe.
Aye.
Okay, so we will see you in January and hopefully we'll get to a decision there. Thank you. Okay, so we can move on now to other business. Why is it under other? Sorry, that's weird.
Lane.
Yeah, I don't know why it's under other. So the next one is application 051-03, Paul and Louise Laudano, 10 Fox Grape Lane, Rugged Scott, also known as Beach Plum 40B. This is for a determination for proposed changes to the architectural plans approved with the comprehensive permit as amended, to determine whether we believe their request is insubstantial pursuant to 760 CMR 56.05 11A subsection B, and then authorized by the Zoning Board of Appeals. If we think it's substantial, then they would have to come back sorry, did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say first, John is recusing
Yeah,
from
he is.
this.
Sorry.
Okay. And I haven't seen the board find so I listed the 6 previous times this has been before the board. All 6 times pools were granted. These are the market rate lots. They're not the affordable lots. And this lot in particular, lot 6, doesn't have the environmental encroachment that lot 10, lot 9, I believe, 6 Fox Grape. That was the very last application that was before the board, and that was sort of a sticky point, but they were able to get past it based on the way the site was laid out. So I think this is even less obtrusive than the previous.
I don't have, so I'm inclined to, follow our path that we've gone on the insubstantial. The only thing I will say is that other than the one we did in February 1st of 2018, all of them have slowly creeped up in size, so.
This is a small,
This one is small?
23 by 10?
I know, but I'm still saying, like, the first one we did was like, we did 6 by 8,
Oh,
7
that
by
was a
7.
spa.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. They went first, that's what I'm saying. They first started as spas and now we're moving on to pools. So I just, that was just my, again, I'm not inclined to go substantial with this one. Sorry, I'm just looking for, did anyone, are you here to speak about this one?
Yeah, Paul Laudano. I'm here on behalf of myself and my wife, 10 Fox Grape. I haven't prepared a presentation, but I'm happy to give you a little bit of background if you'd like on that question of size, it's actually the exact same size as the last one.
Okay.
We just don't have in the easement that's there that was considered last time. There's no encroachment on any easement, and we're abiding by all of the setbacks that are applicable.
Okay. So I think we just need to determine then whether we believe that this is an insubstantial change. I guess the question would be, does anyone think it's substantial? Okay. Hearing nothing then? what-
I assume that the homeowner's documents or the rules of the subdivision didn't address this initially.
Well, I think it was, I'm trying to remember, I think they might have been silent as towards it, and that's why it came back to us, because it's a change to the plan. And so-
That's what it is. Because this was originally done under a 40B, this is a change to the overall site plan. So any change that was not on the original, I mean, you guys have ruled on driveways, pools, and sometimes garages, accessory structures where people didn't necessarily anticipate having those when they bought their lots. So it's really any change to any lot within that 40B structure will trigger at a minimum this determination of
and that's regardless of whether it's called out in the HOA docs or not. It's just that it's a change, physical change to the
to the
what's
site
being-
plan. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I would say at an existential level, it's substantial because there's a pool already for the whole development, but we've approved the others, so.
I think if the HOA docs prohibited pools, then we wouldn't even be talking about this, but it doesn't, so.
The only question I have is, when this was noticed, or was it noticed to the neighbors?
This was not noticed.
doesn't have
None
to
of the
be.
previous have been noticed. I went back and looked at the way these have been put in the packets, advertised, everything, and I tried to follow suit. I was very unclear on how to deal with this when I first received it.
So if we, and that's why I was not sure if we should have the homeowner speak, because I believe for all of these ones that we've done before, and any determination of substantial or insubstantial, it's not really a true, we're not even really, if we decide it's insubstantial, then we're not talking about the merits. And if we determine it's substantial, then I think it gets noticed, it's a public hearing, it's the whole deal.
Correct. It is not a public hearing
And so
right
at this
now.
point,
If it wasn't substantial, then the question would be, has this already been through the HTC?
yes,
And that they noticed it?
yes. Yeah, so
To a butter.
this,
Okay.
HTC approval has been included, and the applicant states they received the HOA approval. And we've issued similar findings 6 previous times for pools and spas. Staff is supportive of the applicant's request. Our past decision making has determined 6 times prior that this was insubstantial. As I noted at the beginning, just, size increase, but the finding we would make would be that the proposal, upon the condition that the pool and related equipment be cited in full compliance with the setbacks as they apply specifically to lot 6, may be considered an insubstantial modification.
It's been 5 spas
Yeah,
and 1 pool,
right.
so it's not,
Well, I'm
it's
saying
5 spas,
and
and then 1 pool slipped through,
Well,
maybe.
I don't think it slipped through.
No, I'm just saying, it isn't,
Right, but we've
it isn't
allowed,
established that the pools are gonna be okay.
we've allowed personal
5 spas.
water
Thingy.
recreation on individual lots, and as I noted, just like keeping the size, they're gonna max out at some point.
So there's no zoning on this?
No, it's just at the.
It's just the comprehensive permit?
It's
So,
just a
yeah,
compromise.
I
So we're
mean,
just
I guess all we've said is it's not a substantial change.
Yeah.
All right, we're not really even commenting on it like we normally would.
No, yeah, we're just saying that.
But I will say that I'm not even sure, this 40B gets me riled up, but
Really?
how does the HDC review it? Is the HDC all of a sudden the board? I thought we're the board of everything. And I bring this up for longer term because that's what
So
happens.
for this, for a couple of the 40Bs, I think Sachem's Path, Beach Plum, and I don't know about Abrams Quarry, that was before my time.
We've abdicated.
We've abdicated to the HDC, and the developer agreed that the HDC would sit in and act as the HDC.
Within the comprehensive permit, I assume?
Review,
or something.
with the most recent 40B, they did not, so, right, is that correct? We acted as the HDC, if I remember, but it doesn't matter, so the HDC has HDC jurisdiction because we
Over
gave
this.
it to them,
Okay.
and the developer, we agreed to that with the developer years ago.
Can I ask one question?
Yep.
Is there any zone where on a 7,800 square foot lot, you can have a pool? In our regular zoning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 40B. There is,
No,
zoning
no.
doesn't apply
No, I understand.
necessarily in the.
No, he's
That's not what I'm
saying,
asking.
like in R5, can you have a
Right.
pool?
If you're 7,500 feet, you can have.
I believe you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
In R5.
Yeah.
Right, and, right, those are 5,000 square foot
Okay,
lots, so.
that's fine.
So,
Well, I would also say, I mean, if you're an undersized lot in R10 and you had the distance to be able to do it, there's nothing stopping you from putting a pool in.
That's what I was asking.
It's just a matter of the site layout, I guess.
yeah. Right, so the only reason this is coming to us is because it's a 40B. And the only other pools we get are the VR ones and the Nantucket. And I think we had
Correct.
one come before us where they were trying to do it, where the pool was gonna be in the setback, or the deck was gonna be in the setback. or
Yeah,
something.
they were looking for variance relief to
Oh,
put
yeah.
to put the pool maybe a foot or two into the setback.
Yeah. So, I'll put forth the motion, I guess, that we find, is it a motion? No, it's just a determination.
It's just a determination, so I wasn't clear on what to put there. So the board, in these previous instances, the chair has signed a letter
Right.
that Eleanor has taken down to the town clerk and had stamped, and I
Right,
believe
so
the
we-
applicant then hands it in with their building permit to show the building inspector that they have the
Okay.
blessing to do it.
Okay, so
But
you guys.
I think we voted
No,
on
well, I
it,
think
so-
what we do is we vote that the board gives me the authority to sign on behalf of the board that this is an insubstantial finding.
I believe
I
that's the
I think that's how
case.
we've done it in the past. I believe that's the case too. So I think that we should vote to see who thinks it's insubstantial or substantial, and then vote to authorize me to sign a letter memorializing the board's vote.
Yes,
Yeah,
that can work.
And this is a simple majority.
Yeah.
Okay, so would someone then, or I can,
Yeah.
or I guess I'll just do roll
It's not a
call.
motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We haven't done one of these in a long time.
I don't think you guys necessarily put it on paper and folded it up. It wasn't an anonymous vote, so.
All right, so we do have to do roll call. So if you think that we should, if you think the determination or the request is insubstantial, say aye. So myself, aye. John's recused. Elisa Allen.
Aye.
Michael O'Meara. Joe Marklinger.
Aye.
And Jim.
Aye.
Okay, so then the next vote is to authorize me as chair to sign a letter memorializing the board's decision that the request in application 05103 for 10 Fox Grape Lane is an insubstantial modification to the comp permit and the plan. So I guess I won't vote on that. Elisa?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And Jim?
Aye.
Okay, great. Sorry for that confusing business. Okay, so I think that's it, other than we were gonna discuss the, our 2024 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting schedule. And I think my big concern that I just want to make sure the meeting dates for January, February, and March, since those are big travel times for everyone, that if someone knows that their travel is gonna impact their ability to attend, that we know about it. Oh, sorry, John, I keep forgetting you're out there. I'll start over. We're just talking about the calendar. Okay, so I was just saying that my concern was for the meeting dates, January, February, and March, that those are big travel days, or travel months, and that just if anyone had traveled during that time that they thought would impact their ability to attend remotely or in person, that they let us know sooner rather than later. And at this point, myself, Joe, Mark, and Elisa all do not have any conflicts with the dates on the calendar so far, and I don't think anyone else got back to Billy, which leads me to assume that you guys also didn't have any conflicts with the existing calendar. It doesn't conflict with Veterans Day or Columbus Day, it's on the other side. The week after stroll, not school vacation. So I think
And we can assume that we're still gonna have a hybrid meeting.
we can assume we're still gonna have a hybrid
Okay.
meeting.
I have had no indication that we're getting rid of hybrid anytime soon. So, I mean, I'm happy to keep it going in that
Yeah.
same form.
I agree.
It's nice for the off-island consultants, really.
Yeah, it is. It's also nice for us, if you do end up being off island, you can jump on and still participate and
Yeah.
not leave everybody hanging if you. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done, yeah. It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like coconut.
so we do need to vote, we do need to vote to approve it, yes, okay. So all those in, I'm not doing a roll call for this. All those who are in favor of approving the 2004 meeting schedule as, 2024 meeting schedule, what did I say? 2004? Perfect. 2024 meeting schedule as presented in the packet, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was unanimous, so that passes. And whatever, if anything does come up, just, let Billy know as soon as possible so we can work around it if we can.
And I did just want to give a brief announcement. The new minutes taker did send me minutes. I did not have a full chance to review them, and I wanted to kind of go over them and iron those out before I send them to the board. So we're going to have 2 sets of minutes for the next meeting.
Okay.
She got them right to me. I apologize, but I have a lot going on, so I
fine.
never had a chance to really review the minutes
I think
on
we
those.
have time for that to happen. And then, did she have any feedback? Were we okay? Could you hear,
She
No
didn't
complaints.
seem to have any trouble hearing anyone.
Perfect.
I think it's more of a question. She was unclear on whether or not to follow suit in the way Miss Norton used to do the minutes, which is it's a little more of listing everyone's name and their what they had to say. So I wanted to talk to Leslie about that because we do have a recorded copy of each of these meetings that go on YouTube. Could these be more of a summarizing set of minutes? And that's up to the board too. So if anyone feels any way about that, please let me know.
yes. Okay, well, that to be continued, but as long as she's good. Yeah, okay. All right, so motion to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, that carries. Yes, happy holidays.
Thank you.